On the wall, these two rows here are instruments called blow accordions. And they're basically a cross between a harmonica and an accordion, because you blow to get the wind power, but you play the notes by depressing keys, which open up little valves and allows the air to go through a reed. And they're all identical in that sense. These are the earlier ones along this row here, the type you would find in the 1880 to 1920 period. And these overlap, the bottom three being, well, three of the bottom four are made by Hohner. Another is a sort of a knockoff on Hohner, this one. I guess they made an adaptation of their trumpet call in this one because it has 5 horns, like the trumpet call model, but they just put them on the blow accordion to dress it up and make it look a little different. And this has a big flaring horn. The ones above it are cylindrical, maybe more like a clarinet, I suppose. But they all are basically the same. They have usually 10 keys or buttons to play 20 different notes, blow and draw, and two low keys, one for bass notes and a low chord that you can accompany yourself with. At the very top is a megaphone device, probably from the Rudy Valley days when the singers in that period would sing into the microphone with a megaphone to make their voice sound a little different. And below that are 2 rows of what we call paddle wheels, and I think maybe you can see why that name came about, because it's either 3 or 4 or 6 harmonicas mounted between 2 handles. And you play as you turn, and you get 4 different keys on that one. On this one you get 6. On the ones in the next row you get just 3. And finally, on the right-hand side are some Oriental instruments. These 2 are Chinese, and they go by the name of Sheng, S-H-E-N-G, and it's a very complicated thing to play, and they don't work well anyway, so I won't try playing. And these 2 were made in Thailand, and they're a country instrument. Again, it has a very Oriental sound, I guess you'd call it. Just for illustration, I've got 3 harmonicas mounted here, which represent the typical harmonica trio, such as the harmonicats, which is the best known of all, consisting of the lead player playing a chromatic, the chord player playing a 48 chord harmonica, and you should see them play that because they're back and forth and up and down all over the instrument, and the third player would play the bass. And the thing that made the harmonicats popular was their recording of Peg of My Heart. And the thing that made it unique was that the melody was played on the chord harmonica, and it's quite something to listen to. This little display, well, not really little, but of some 30 harmonicas, are all instruments that were made in Germany for the Australian market. There are a couple made for New Zealand. But the majority of them have the name Boomerang in their title, and one in particular has the shape of an Australian boomerang. Both the harmonica and the case, which opens up, fits in the case like that. Very interesting and, to me, desirable model to have. And I was lucky enough to be able to purchase an entire collection. This is not all from that collection. I had a few myself, which were different. But they range from the larger models here, some chromatics with an outside spring and an inside spring. Moving on through models with tin boxes. One called Crackerjack Junior and Crackerjack Senior. And then miniatures, including the miniature boomerang, which is like the big one, only pint size. And with it even came a little sign that says, "Always insist on boomerang mouth organs," which the Australians call them mouth organs instead of harmonicas. 3 more harmonicas, which happen to come in the form of walking sticks or canes. I've picked up 3 of these over the years, harking back to when I went to see the collection at the Smithsonian. They had 1 harmonica cane, and I determined then I was going to have my own harmonica cane, and I ended up with 3, but they tend to be very pricey because cane collectors are a lot richer than harmonica collectors, I've discovered. And the only one that really plays is this one. I'll tell you about the other 2. This one is French. It has a silver handle, a blow-only harmonica in the handle, and you can't get into it, and only about 3 of the reeds work, so there's not much point in taking that out. This one is interesting because it was made out of a bamboo shoot, and actually the bamboo grows like that, and this is the root part that's underground. And the maker of this was a company called Swain and Adamy, which was a London cane provider, and they have the harmonica mounted in the lower end of the bamboo cane. This one is a dark wood with a harmonica that actually plays. I think most of the reeds, 10-hole harmonica in there, you cannot get it out of there. At least I don't see any visible way to do so. But it's a nice instrument and a nice cane. These were all from around the turn of the century, give or take 10 years probably. 1890, 1910. This is a special display that I put together for a spa harmonica Players Club meeting. It's designed to show the different changes that were made in the cover plates of the Marine Band harmonica, from the very earliest, which is this one, to the post-war model down here, post-World War II, that is. The very first one says on it, you probably can't see it, but it says patent applied for, and was only made for a year or 2 until the patent was issued. And the next one says U.S. patent August 24th, 1897. So give them a year to get that on the harmonica. This probably was made in 1897, this was made in 1898, and so forth. And the model name number that Hohner gave this was 1896, which is when it was first developed, I expect. And then the additional models here show subtle changes, and sometimes not so subtle. Not so much in this side where it says Marine Band, but on the trademark side, where the basic Hohner trademark, this is on the oldest one, has in the center two hands holding onto a circle, and inside the circle is a star, a six-pointed star. And in the earliest models, the star was very small. And as time went on, after probably into the 20s, the star got larger. And so just before the star disappeared, it was quite large. And this model, right around 1939, as best we can tell, no, it would be this model. And finally, after 1940, the star disappears. The conventional wisdom is that the star looked too much like the Star of David, and those were times in Germany when that was not a popular symbol, and the powers that be decided it was in their best interest to remove it from the harmonica. I'd had in mind all along to donate the collection to an appropriate museum. So toward the end of April, the entire collection will be going to a place called America's Shrine to Music Museum. It's a very, very fine, single-purpose museum strictly for musical instruments, located in all places in South Dakota, the southeast corner of South Dakota, in a town called Vermillion, which is where the University of South Dakota is located. It's not just an ordinary musical instrument museum. The instrument partially pictured on the cover here is one of two known guitars made by Antonio Stradivarius. I'm sure you've heard of Stradivarius violins, but the only other one authenticated is in London, England. Very good, very good.
That does have a good sound.
Yeah.
You know, that sounds like the Addams Family.
It does.
That's right.
That was pretty awful, but
The notes are all in there, folks.
Yeah.
the instrument.
Not bad for a little
Hey,
harmonica.
that's great.
very different, but as Alan
Pretty.
says, they don't add a heck of a lot.
Blues
Don't overdo it.
Okay, we won't. Blues on a pipe pole again. That's
Right.
the Pipolium.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's pretty
You know what's odd about this?
It's backwards, isn't it?
Yes.
I just noticed that.
It almost sounds like the way it's arranged should be played the opposite way, but
Horns down.
yeah,
I have a hunch the horns may have been
Horns may have
taken
been
off and
reversed.
put on backwards.
put on backwards,
Yeah.
because this would be easier to play.
Oh,
Very good.
that song have a name?
All right.
Yes, it's Why Can't You Love Me? It's by Paul DeLay.
Paul DeLay.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Let's see what happens here. Make adjustment for that.
Okay.
Well, that was very appropriate because I think that song was written about the same time the harmonica was made, if I'm not mistaken.
I think you're right. Yeah,
You know?
I think you're right.
Great.
I'd like to thank and take this opportunity to personally thank Alan Bates for generously allowing this production. Alan, thank you from the bottom of my heart.
I want to thank you for doing it, Bill, because it would have never happened if it weren't for you and your suggestion to come and take the time to do all of this. Just marvelous.
Thank you.